Stock sectors, Chinese stocks for June 5th, 2024. This is Arvi Ramachandran. So, for those who are new to our work, what we do in stock sectors is we are basically highlighting an important group that we think is relevant and has a trade setup coming up here over the next few weeks. And for this free video on YouTube, what we're going to do is a focused video solely on some of the Chinese stocks that we have on the radar. We have overall been fairly positive on Chinese stocks, and we've seen the bullish now basing cycle that is forming in the FXI. And we are coming into an interesting point in the coming weeks for a bottom to form in the Chinese market. And we'll be looking at some names here that are on our radar. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so this is our both weekly, daily, and 2 hour grid for the FXI. What you're looking at here is our chart streams grid. For those who are new to our work, the chart streams grid is only available for level 4 members and up at aslam.com, and it allows you to enter in any symbol that you're interested in and see the short-term bias as per our suite of indicators. If we go ahead and pull up the weekly chart, you will see that we are seeing a bullish basing cycle that is forming here based on the cycle brackets that we have at the bottom. We are forming this higher low in all likelihood versus this old low. We have a low that is due 610 to 85. This is a bull flag in all likelihood that is poised to turn right back to the upside. We are looking for it to hold this zone right here, 2628 to 2427 or so. And the odds favor a move easily through this old high there, as I said, at 29.53. If you jump over to the daily chart, you can see that we have overlaid our slim ribbon right here, and then we have our PO at the bottom. What you use the PO for is to get the follow-through signals either on the upside or on the downside. The goal is to only use the PO when you have either a ribbon that's in parallel on the upside or a ribbon that's in parallel on the downside. You can see just recently in this most recent rally mode in the FXI, that great signal right there that led to follow through, and then this signal right here that led to follow through, right? You can see that really very, very clearly on the upside. Now, if we go back, you can see all three EMAs here are in parallel on the downside right there, and we saw bear signals coming out throughout here, and each of these led to solid moves down. So this is why you only want to use the PO when it is in parallel. Right now we are flat, so there is no signal that is going to be coming out of the PO. We are watching for a bear flag to form and then for this to turn back to the downside towards the 61.8 FIB at around 25.87, a low that is due 614 to right around 7.5. If we go ahead and shift over now to the 2 hour chart, you'll see the slim ribbon here as well. We are just in a bear flag, so we are now seeing a neutral ribbon. We have our MCI, which is the market condition indicator. What it does is it takes multiple time frames and factors it all into one sum of the evidence output. And you can see right now it is neutral after being positive this entire way up. It then turned down and turned neutral as we formed that peak. So you can see that when you are in a positive state for the MCI, you're only seeing bull flags that are forming here, bull flags that are forming here, and bull flags that are forming here with an MCI that is pinned near 100 the entire way. So that's super positive. Okay, so let's look there at the FXI on a short-term 1 to 3 week time frame as we look at the sum of the evidence. Let's go ahead now and shift over to some of the names that we are interested in. We are going to look at PDD, that's Pin Duo Duo. Let's pull up the weekly. So for PDD, we formed our trough right here, and the reason that this is interesting is because we formed our low and are actually near swing highs already, and this is also a flag that is in all likelihood forming that is poised for another turn back to the upside. We have a zone here from 143 to 130, and we are looking for that to hold here and see a turn back towards this zone right here from 167 or so up to 180, 150. Jump over to the daily chart. You will note that we have also seen a peak here in PDD, and we are getting a pullback. There is a low that is due 618 to 78. We're looking for a move down into where we are now, 144.05. And then on the deeper end for this pullback, 130.129, we will look for that zone to hold and then for us to turn back up to the upside and move through 164.69 in that next rising phase. This low is due 618 to right around 78 once again. So you will also note that our slim ribbon is now turning neutral or very close to doing so, significantly raising the odds that this is the cycle peak for that dominant money flow pattern right there. Finally, if we jump over to the 2-hour chart, you will see that the MCI here is still plus 76. So clearly still showing strength, but we are seeing this curl back down. We now have a bearish trend on the 2-hour and a bearish signal that just came out of the PO here. You can see which has already led to some decent follow through in the near term for PDD. So the bias is starting to shift now on the downside as we are looking at it. If we go ahead and jump over to the next one that we are interested in, let's look at JD.com. That's symbol JD, of course. And you can see what's happening here is that we're seeing a rising phase on the intermediate term that is still ongoing. If we look at these minor cycles, we're seeing a bullish right-hand translation right there on that minor cycle and another bullish translation right here. That next minor low is due right around end of June, early part of July. We are watching for this to hold 30.09 to right around 26.5 or so, form a flag, then turn back up towards that 78.6 at 37.31 on the intermediate term. Our next key dominant trough is only due 8.26 to 9.30 here. If we go ahead and jump over to the next one, we will look at the daily time frame. Now on the daily, you can see a clear shift to the downside. And this is after a really solid trend higher. You can see that really clear flag that retested the old highs and then bounced nicely. Right here, we actually had a bull signal out of the PO right there that led to some nice follow through. And now we've seen a clear shift down as we have turned neutral and now bearish on the trend. So that says watching for a bear flag to form and then one more test down. That would be the highest odds. 31.50 to right around 33.19 are our zones up. On the downside, 28.46 to 26.71. Reasonable to see right around 28.46 or lower going into this low, which is due 6.24 to 7.8. And finally, let's go ahead and shift over to the 2-hour chart. And you can see a strong move down after this long period of having a very bullish MCI and only seeing bull flags that led to follow through up, right? We now have a strong move down and we are in very close to the area that we would call the swing zone in the MCI, which is the plus or minus 25 zone. That would be a neutral state here in JD. So it says an obvious shift now is happening in the bias here as well on the 2-hour, and that is overall in line with what we're seeing here on the weekly and daily chart. So it says very good odds of one more dip coming here on the downside, and then likely a decent bounce off of that end of June, early part of July low. Okay, so that is our mini stock sectors clip here for our friends on YouTube. If you would like to sign up for a level 4 membership, please go to aslim.com and click on the banner at the top, and you will be able to sign up for a 1-month trial of level 4 for only $99. So a fantastic deal and a great way to try out our service. As I said earlier, if you have any questions, feel free to post them here in the comment section, and always happy to answer them. Thanks again and have a great day.